Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, yet oddly close to South Korea, there existed a magical kingdom. It was called Koryongdor, a land of majestic mountains, sparkling rivers, and surprisingly frequent power outages. But it was also a land shrouded in fear and ruled by an iron fist, or, more accurately, a velvet glove covering an iron fist, and inside that glove, you guessed it, another iron fist. In the heart of Koryongdor, atop the perpetually snow-capped and heavily guarded Mount Bopgun, the tyrannical sorcerer Kim Jong-ilvis had forged a ring. Not just any ring, mind you, but the one ring of absolute obedience. This wasn't your grandma's promise ring. This thing could make entire populations break into synchronized dance routines with just a flick of the wrist. Koryongdor was, to put it mildly, a quirky place. Imagine a country run like a giant summer camp, except instead of friendship bracelets, everyone wore matching jumpsuits, and instead of sing-alongs, there were mandatory viewings of military parades. Oh, and no internet, like, at all. They hadn't quite gotten around to that whole World Wide Web thing yet. The citizens of Koryongdor, known as the Koryongdors, creative, right? Were a resilient bunch. They lived by 3 simple rules. 1, love the supreme leader. 2, love the supreme leader even more. 3, never question why there's never any good kimchi in the shops.
Our story begins, as all good stories do, with a small, unassuming creature. In this case, a frog. Not just any frog, but Frogbuk, a simple frog person who lived in a tiny, mushroom-shaped hovel and dreamt of one day owning a washing machine. See, in Koryongdor, owning a washing machine was like owning a unicorn. Technically possible, but nobody actually knew anyone who did. One day, my life took a turn for the, well, weird. I won the annual Destiny Lottery, a nationwide event that was about as random and fair as you might expect. The grand prize? A one-way trip to the capital city to meet the supreme leader himself? Oh, and a complimentary tote bag.
Frogbuk's journey to the capital was not a solitary one. Along the way, he encountered a band of misfits who, through a series of increasingly improbable events, became his traveling companions.
There was Reinhardt, a battle-hardened rhinoceros general with a penchant for quoting military regulations.
Phoenixia, a flamboyant Phoenix pop star whose music videos were surprisingly subversive.
And Shelvis, an ancient and wise turtle who, despite being a master of martial arts, mostly just wanted to be left alone to solve Sudoku puzzles.
This ragtag group, united by a shared love of kimchi stew and a healthy distrust of authority, became known as the Fellowship of the Noodle.
Their mission, whether they liked it or not, was to stop Kim Jong-ilvis from using the One Ring to achieve his evil plan, implementing mandatory karaoke nights for all citizens.
I'm trapped in a gilded cage controlled by a dictator's rage, but my spirit will never bend. I'll fight for freedom till the very end.
Chorus. We're the Fellowship of the Noodle, fighting for truth. It's our doodle. From the mountains to the sea, Koryongdor will soon be free. The Fellowship's journey was fraught with peril. They braved treacherous mountain passes guarded by squirrel snipers, navigated dense forests patrolled by fashion police. Apparently mismatched socks were a serious offense in Koryongdor, and even endured a particularly harrowing encounter with a talking statue of Kim Il-sung that wouldn't stop telling dad jokes. But perhaps their greatest challenge came in the form of the propaganda corridor. This seemingly endless hallway was plastered with thousands of posters, each one more absurd and outlandish than the last. The posters depicted that fellowship as enemies of the state, engaging in all sorts of nefarious activities like chewing gum, wearing hats indoors, and gasp, listening to Western music. The aroma of fermented cabbage hung heavy in the air as the Fellowship finally reached the outskirts of the capital. There, in the heart of the legendary kimchi fields, they faced their greatest test yet, a colossal army of goose-stepping rabbits, each one armed with a tiny yet surprisingly pointy carrot rifle.
This is it, everyone. Stay sharp and watch out for those carrot rifles.
The Battle of the Kimchi Fields was a sight to behold. Reinhardt, his rhinoceros hide adorned with makeshift armor made of kimchi pots, charged into battle with a roar that could curdle milk.
For Koryongdor and for the kimchi.
Phoenixia, her feathers ablaze with fiery passion, soared through the air, unleashing a barrage of explosive feather attacks.
Keep pushing forward. We must reach the capital.
Even Shelvis, his patience finally wearing thin, emerged from his shell and unleashed a flurry of ancient turtle-style martial arts moves that left the rabbit soldiers hopping for cover.
Ha! Take that, you fluffy fiends!
After much struggle and more than a few helpings of kimchi stew, the Fellowship finally reached Mount Bopgun. There, in his heavily fortified palace, Kim Jong-ilvis awaited, the One Ring pulsating ominously on his finger. A tense standoff ensued, filled with dramatic pronouncements and thinly veiled threats.
This ends now, Kim Jong-ilvis. The ring belongs to no one.
Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Frogbuk, in a moment of unexpected bravery, or perhaps just a severe case of indigestion, snatched the One Ring from Kim Jong-ilvis's grasp. Holding the ring aloft, he realized with a start that he could sense its power, its ability to control the minds and wills of others. He could rule Koryongdor, become the supreme Froggo, the toad of tyranny.
With great power comes great responsibility, and frankly, who needs that kind of pressure?
And so, with a sigh, Frogbuk chucked the One Ring into the nearest kimchi pot. The effect was instantaneous. The volcano shuddered, the palace crumbled, and Kim Jong-ilvis's carefully sculpted eyebrows shot straight up in surprise. With the One Ring gone, the spell over Koryongdor was broken. The propaganda posters melted away, the goose-stepping rabbits spontaneously developed a taste for disco, and the internet magically switched itself on, though the connection speed was still a bit iffy.
We did it. Koryongdor is free.
As for our heroes, well, Reinhardt finally achieved his lifelong dream of opening a chain of all-you-can-eat kimchi buffets. Phoenixia's music career reached new heights, her subversive anthems now topping the charts, except in a few select countries for some reason. Shelvis went back to his Sudoku puzzles, occasionally emerging to impart cryptic wisdom to those who sought him out.
And Frogbuk, what about him?
Frogbuk finally got his washing machine. Sure, it was a slightly used model from the 1980s, but it was his. And in the newly liberated Koryongdor, that was all that mattered. The land was free, the people were united, and the kimchi was flowing freely. It was, to put it mildly, a pretty good time to be a frog person.
The end, or is it just the beginning?
The end, or is it just the beginning?